Hi, I'm Paul from Paradis Pools. We're going to have a quick little pool school here in store today. So first we're going to go over some filter maintenance. Nice and simple. We have the cartridge filter here in store, and I'm just going to demonstrate how we clean it and how we have to check it. Every 3 to 4 weeks or so you'll have to clean out the cartridge that's inside the big tank. And to do that, you're going to shut off the shut-off valves on each side right here and here. You want to open up the drain plug in the back, let all the water out. I always take it out and put it right in my pocket so I don't lose it, so I know where it is. And you're going to want to stand on the filter so you get a little bit of leverage, and then squeeze the little levers under here and spin it off. You just spin it, take it out, rinse it with a garden hose, spray it down. If you want, you can use, they do have a cartridge cleaner. It does help prolong the life a little bit. It's not completely necessary. It's recommended maybe once a year. Do it in the fall when you close your pool. But once you clean it off, it'll look pretty, and you just go again, and it'll just kind of click back down. Then you're gonna spin this, and you're just gonna go until it clicks. You're gonna try to make sure that this is facing away from the power supply, which will be in the back, so forward is good. And then I always like to put the plug right back in so you don't forget it. You just go finger tight. Don't have to go too crazy because there's an O-ring on it. Every other week, you're gonna need to change the torpedo pack in the frog. And to do that is the same way. You shut the shut-off valve off. You spin this, loosen it, just take it out. Once you take it out, you can look inside and see if there's any in there. If there's not too many left, I recommend putting either a new one in, or you can put a reminder in your phone or something like that where you'll remember to check again in 2 days or so. If you put a new one, you just have to pull the blue plug off. I'm going to leave it on because we're in store and we don't want to smell the chlorine. But there's a big and a small. And when you go down, it can only go one way. A big and a small down there, so it just drops right in. And you're just going to spin until it's tight. You don't have to go too crazy. Sometimes when you go to take it off, it's hard. I just put a hand on it and you can kind of hit it, give it a good whack to loosen it. Every time you fill the pool, every time you clean the cartridge, you're gonna have to release the air out of here. So you're gonna open this up. You're gonna open up your shut-off valves, both of them, make sure water can flow in. It'll take a couple minutes. It's just gravity fed. After a couple minutes, water is gonna come out of here. You're gonna close the orange plug. That'll prevent any water from coming out. If you look inside here, sometimes you might see a little air bubble in here. You can get rid of that sometimes just by loosening it. You don't want to take it off, because if you take it off, water's gonna go everywhere. So you just kind of loosen it and just tighten it again. And sometimes it's a little hard to get back on, but it'll go. And that will be about depending on how many trees you have in your backyard, how often you use your pool, how hot it is. It could be anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks to 6 weeks, depending on how many trees are in your backyard. Now we're gonna do some regular pool maintenance. Just some of the different things that we need when we maintain our swimming pool. Testing your water. So you should have a test kit at your house. Probably looks like this. You should do it once a week with the test strips that we provide with the Frogger. Or you could do a drop kit if you have one of those lying around. Those are nice as well. You should also have your water tested professionally at least once a month. So bring it here, we'll test it for free, no charge. That way we can make sure everything else is looking good. Or if you're not good with colors and it's easy, you can't read these very well, we can help you out there too. So next we're going to go over vacuuming. This little thingy you're going to need is your skimmer vacuum, the skimmer vac. And if you just go, you're going to just drop it inside your skimmer basket. On top of the basket, you don't have to take the basket out because that's going to help catch everything. And then you're going to find your vacuum, whether it be a manual with a pole that you're going to use or a little shark. And you're going to take the whole hose. I just throw my whole thing in the pool. You just drop it all in the pool. And then you're going to take the end that's eventually going to go on this vacuum, and you just stick it in front of the return while it's running, and it'll completely fill the hose with water. You could feel it, and you'll see the hose sink once it's all the way full. And then you just bring it over here, and you just stick it on like that, and it's going to go through the system for you. If you have the manual hand one, it's pretty simple. You just go back and forth, keep a simple little pattern, don't have to go too crazy. The good thing about a good filter is it makes it easy to vacuum. It helps keep your pool clean. Most of the time, it keeps all of the dirt into one section, so you don't have to go too crazy. Get this out of the way. If you have a Dolphin, either the S50 or the S100, it'll have a long blue submarine type cord on it, and you're just gonna take it and throw it in your pool, let it drop. The water will fill it, it'll slowly go down, it'll take a couple minutes. But after that, you just go over to the power source, plug it in, and hit power, and it'll go all by itself. And then when you're done with the Dolphin, you're gonna wanna make sure you clean it out. It has its own filter, so you just pop the lid, pull out the basket, shake it out, rinse it with a garden hose. Again, you don't need to go crazy. You don't want to use any soap because then it could just make your pool soapy afterwards, and you just put it right back. Always recommend anything you take out of your pool, you're going to want to put, any of your filter parts, you're going to want to put right back. That way you don't forget where you put it when you're looking for it later. Now we're just going to go over some of the chemicals. First one, the most common disinfectant in swimming pool is chlorine. It's a disinfectant that kills the microorganisms. That's what you're used to. If you have the frog system, the chlorine are the little tiny tablets in the torpedo pack that you don't ever have to touch. There are actually different types of chlorines. There's free chlorine, which is the active chlorine, which is kind of like the healthy living chlorine that's able to kill stuff. And then there's the chloramines, which is kind of like the already used free chlorine, so the dead chlorine. And that's the kind of chlorine that when you walk into like a public swimming pool, if you're like in a YMCA or something and you smell chlorine when you walk in the door, that's actually the smell. It's the used up chlorine, the chloramines. And so the total chlorine is the free and the chloramine. So that's how you would check it. And there's two different ways to chlorinate most pools. Would be the big tabs or a chlorinator, which you could do in the skimmer or in a chlorinator if you have a chlorinator. Or for a lot of you guys, it's the torpedo packs. So nice and easy. So Super Shock is different than a routine chlorine. It's a larger dose of chlorine to the pool, which is going to sanitize the water, and then it's going to quickly drop down. There's two different types of shock. There's liquid and granular. Granular, super shock it, that's what we like to use here. It's more concentrated and very effective. And it's all dependent on how much you need it per pool, is how big your pool is and how much water is in your pool. So most pools you can get away with 1 pound. So shock should only ever be added to the pool while the filter is running. It's also best to add the shock in the evening. It's more effective. And you add it at night because nobody should swim in the water for 10 to 12 hours after the shock is added. So if you have a lot of people over, they're swimming, and then, you know, everyone gets out, wait till everybody leaves so no one jumps back in again. You throw in a pound of shock, make sure your filters kicks on. When you do that, when you add the shock, the easiest way to do it is shake it up so you can kind of get a good see on where the line is, or you can use one bag, which is 1 pound. And as your filter's running, you just twist the cap off, and if you pour it in front of the return as your filter's running, you'll actually see it spray across the pool and stir it, and it'll dissolve and not just settle into one spot. So the CDC recommends shocking the pool once a week, but if you have the frog system, it's every other week or after heavy use. So if you're having a big party with 10, 12 kids in the pool, they're all splashing, after the party, you should shock your swimming pool. So next we're going to talk about pH. And the pH is the level of acidity in your water. The proper pH for a swimming pool should be anywhere between 7.2 and 7.8, but ideal would be between 7.4 and 7.6. If your pH is too low or too high, it'll cause skin and eye irritation. And if it's too low, it could also cause vinyl liners to wrinkle, and it can do damage to your pool equipment. If it's too high, it can cause scaling. To increase pH, you can use pH up. To decrease, you would use pH down. If your eyes are bothering you when you're swimming, a lot of times it's because the pH is off. It's not the level, it's not how much chlorine is in your pool, because the acidity level in your eye is 7.5. So if your eyes are really bothering you in the water, most likely it's your pH that's off. Next, we're going to talk about alkalinity, and that's the measure of the certain minerals that are kind of like buffering agents to adjust the pH level. The proper alkalinity level is between 60 and 180, and ideal is between 80 and 120. If alkalinity is too low or high, it can cause pH fluctuations. If low alkalinity causes corrosive water, high alkalinity causes cloudy water, and it can reduce circulation and clog the filter. So to increase alkalinity, you would use alkalinity up, but to decrease alkalinity, you would use pH down. Algicides. All sorts of different algicides, all sorts of different algae. The most common, green algae, pink, black, mustard algae. The easiest way to deal with algae, I would say, is to bring us a sample of your water in a pitcher, and we can test it. We'll make sure it's just regular algae. We'll help you give your dosages. It's actually not that hard. Typically, it just takes a little bit of extra work than your regular weekly treatment that you're doing. But all algicides must be used with a shock treatment, or they're not going to work. Stabilizer is a chemical that helps prevent the sun's UV rays from affecting the chlorine levels. It's just kind of like a sunblock to make sure that the chlorine is going to be doing its work. Both the big tabs that we sell and the torpedo packs already have it in it. So most of the time you shouldn't need to add any stabilizer to your swimming pool. It's just something that's going to help to make sure that chlorine's not just going in and instantly out. If you add chlorine during the day, if you run your filter during the day, it's not going to be as efficient because the sun is going to be taking some out. So that's why we always, when we set a timer for your filter, we always say run it at nighttime. Calcium hardness. It's the measure of the calcium ion present in the water. The proper level should be between 200 and 400. Treating the calcium level should always be a slow and steady process. You never want to add 25 pounds of anything at once. It should never be that much. You always want to go a little at a time. High levels of calcium can cause cloudy, milky water, which again would plug up the filter. You'd have to clean it regularly until it's ready, until the calcium's at the right level, and it reduces the circulation. There's a little cheat sheet that has the different levels. Your chlorine, with the frog system, it could be as low as 0.5 to 1 part per million. Even if you're keeping it really low on the dial, it's still going to be a little bit higher than 0.5 most likely, but that's fine. It's doing its job and it's still a low chlorine. All the other ones between 7.4 and 7.6 for pH is best, and alkalinity between 80 and 120, stabilizer above 35, and your calcium between 200 and 400 parts per million. So once your pool's up and your filter's running, you're swimming in your pool, it's very important that you have plastic and stone around your swimming pool. They sell it at Lowe's, Home Depot, and it comes in 3-foot by 50-foot rolls. They have 3 and 4 and 5 mil, it doesn't matter which one, but you want solid plastic, not weed block, because solid plastic is going to prevent the water from going underneath the pool. So when you do that, you're going to want to go unroll it. It's about 3 feet, and you're just going to tape it up on the wall a couple inches on the wall. Use some clear tape so you don't have to see duct tape, and then you're going to put stone on top of that. So everyone says you need to put stone around your pool. Stone is kind of what makes your pool look nice after the plastic's down. The plastic's what's doing the majority of the work. If you are interested and you haven't done it yet, here's a couple pictures of some that we've done. You can do around your pool. That's what it should look like. We like to go around the filter just to kind of make it easy, so when you're weed whacking and stuff, you're not close to your filter or your motor when you're mowing. It just looks nice, makes it look finished and clean. And lastly, we want to make sure you guys are safe when you're swimming in your pool. So you should visit poolsafely.gov to take a pledge. You could download an app for kids to play games to help teach safety features. I think my biggest thing for me that I like to do is please leave your cell phones inside, or if there's 2 of you that are out there, make sure one of you at least is paying attention and one of you left your phone inside. Put them on a table. If you use it for music or something like that, that's fine. That's great, but put it so you're not constantly on Facebook while the kids are swimming. Yes, we hope all of your kids are good swimmers. The best way to be a good swimmer is by swimming a ton. So we encourage that, but we also understand that accidents sometimes do happen, and we want to make sure none of them ever happen in our swimming pools. So you want to leave your phones in the pool, leave your phones inside. You want to fix cloudy water as soon as possible. Cloudy water makes it really hard to see the bottom of the pool, and obviously that can be dangerous. If you're swimming and you're in there and you realize you can't really see your feet, even though it looks clean and clear, but it's cloudy, we recommend you kind of get out of the pool. It might not be dangerous to your skin, but it's dangerous when you can't see. If you know your little child dives and doesn't come back up. And then the thing I always forget when I go out in my pool with my kids is sunblock. You want to put the sunblock on. Not everybody's like me. A lot of people like to burn in the sun, so you want to remember sunblock. And then always make sure when you get out of your pool, that you're closing your deck gate or your ladder gate. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot us an email, give us a call, send us a message on Facebook, whatever you want to do. Hope to talk to you soon.